Welcome back. Today we are checking out a new game that we haven't looked at before on the channel. I recently was at my local game store and asked them if they had any small solo games intended for solo play, or maybe that you could play solo or with more players than one, but especially interested obviously in solo games that don't just have a solo mode tacked on, but are actually designed and intended to be played this way. And they, showed me or recommended this game to me, Kingdom Legacy, which is just, this really is a small box game. It's a box of cards, like a big tuck box about the width of maybe two and a bit normal sized decks of cards, of playing cards. I think there's like 150 cards inside, roundabout, I'm not sure. Yeah. And I want to play this on the channel. It is a legacy game, so that means you are intended to modify some of the cards, write on them, destroy them. There's a sticker sheet and so on. I don't think I'm going to be doing that, instead of destroying a card, you can just put it aside and so on. And I've got an idea to mitigate the writing and so on. But I'll see. Maybe I'll switch in between, but I thought it'd be nice to preserve it somewhat, just in case I want to play it a second time ever, or maybe, give it to a friend, something like that. I like the idea of legacy games. I just don't see why you always have to destroy components. I know that means that if you ever want to play it again, you have to buy it again, so makes sense business-wise. Well, anyways, I want to play this through. Says somewhere, I think, or online, I don't know where, I saw the information that this is about 6 hours of content, the campaign, the legacy campaign, though that's probably also dependent on how you play it. And obviously this is a big spoiler warning. I'll put it right here. If you are interested in playing this game yourself, you might want to watch maybe this episode, but then stop watching and first get the game and play it. There is a sort of introductory tutorial-like part of the game. The cards are numbered and says in the rules, I think, up to card number 23, the game can be reset at all times, which is why you are not supposed to destroy any cards until card 23 either. So maybe that's sort of I don't know, I haven't played it yet, but that sounds like it might be something that's somewhat safe to watch without spoiling much of the legacy content. And after that, you can decide if you want to keep watching or rather play it yourself. So yeah, we'll get right into it. The game, here are the rules, is designed by Jonathan Fryxelius. Hope I pronounced that correctly. It says the assistant design Fryx Games, which just sounds like him as well. I don't know who else is involved in there. And he's the art director as well. Notably not the artist I was looking for who illustrated this, and turns out nobody did. This is AI generated artwork. And taking a closer look at some of the roofs here, you can tell that they are a bit wonky, or I'd say maybe architecturally improbable. Let's leave it at that. And this is something you might notice throughout the game and also the rules here. Yeah, this has that classic... it's not really classic, it's a bit sad to call it classic already, but this pretty obvious AI look. Well, So I found that out recently. But if that is something that bothers you, just be aware of that. I would have wished it was a bit more apparent from the rules here. Maybe a small little disclaimer or whatever. Seems a bit weird to, yeah, seems like they dodged that just by not calling themselves artist, but the art director, and you know, the AI as the artist or whatever. Yeah, little gripe I had when reading through the rules and looking at the game and then looking online for who illustrated this. So yeah, that's just all of the info at the beginning of the video. If you're still here through all of my rambling, then thanks and we'll take a look at the game. I won't open the box here on camera because it has a unique registration code that you can use to share your score online afterwards. I'll show it like this. So 2 big packets of cards. These are the sort of, I think, guaranteed cards that you'll work through. And the second packet of cards are some cards we might have to search through and get out specific ones, but I think it sounds like these you're not guaranteed to see on every playthrough. These you pretty much are, and the game ends when you see card number 70, which is the last one here. So yeah, there's a few golden rules here. You never rotate or flip a card unless you do it using a rule, which is very important to keep them all in the same orientation and so on. You can inspect all the sides of the cards, but obviously have to put them back in the right orientation. And only the cards you already have outside the box, the ones in the box, are to be discovered while playing. And some more about the gameplay here, which we'll just learn while doing it. So I've sleeved the cards up into these trading card sleeves, which have a dark back. And the reason is, this way if I drop the deck or cards spill out while shuffling, or I put them away and they get shaken up or whatever, leave them on my desk and they fall over, I know which orientation the cards go back into the deck, because this is what the rules were saying. The card has sort of this top half that is important, that is active, and you can upgrade cards flipping them around, either like this or sometimes like this, and you are allowed to look at all of those, can't really prevent you from doing so, but you obviously have to keep them, even while shuffling the deck and playing the game, in the correct rotation, so the game remembers what kind of things you have upgraded and so on. And so it's important, this kind of up and down is important, but also front and back is important. And that's why I'm using these sleeves that have one tinted side and one clear side, because that way I know this is the front, I know this is the top, because there's the opening of the sleeve. So when I'm going to be upgrading cards, I will take them out of the sleeve and rotate them and so on. Or, you know, if we were to flip this, I would put it back in like this. And I hope that doesn't get annoying while playing. And the reason I want sleeves at all is so if I have to write on the cards, I just write on the sleeve. Okay, so this is our starting deck, cards number 1 through 10. You're allowed to look at all of them. So we have some lands here, land cards, grasslands. They produce coins and can be upgraded using coins. And later you can build a farmhouse or food barns, which also produce coins, but more, and are worth more victory points in the end. Then we have mountains, which at the moment also produce coins, but can be upgraded to produce stone or even metal as a mine. Forests, which produce wood and can be upgraded, are headquarters, which apparently for quite a big upgrade cost, can grow to the town hall or a keep or a castle, and is worth a lot of victory points there. And the trader, where we can spend 1 gold to gain 1 wood, or later when we upgrade them to the bazaar or a market or a festival, buy other resources. Or this festival looks like it's sort of a wild card that gives you one of these 4 materials. I realize these cards are hard to see because of the tinted backs. I'll decide after this first episode if I'll stick with them or not. Yeah, so I'm gonna shuffle these first, and then we'll start playing. And the way this works is you shuffle your whole deck, your kingdom, as it's called, and you have a draw pile off to the side, and you deal out 4 cards into the play area. And the reason the lighting is so different today is because I wanted to prevent the glare on the sleeves. So I moved my light around, but that's also why the lighting is off to the side there. And I crank up the brightness here. And so now we have a few actions we can do. Upgrading a card for the upgrade cost shown in these boxes, and then you turn it around, flip it according to the arrow, ends your turn, and then you discard all those cards and draw new ones. You can use a card to produce its resource. So for example, we could take this distant mountain and discard it to produce this coin here, and then use the coin to upgrade something else. Or we advance by drawing 2 more cards, which means we'll go through our deck quicker and discard all of them, because at the end of every turn you discard all the cards in the play area, but obviously get more options to pay more expensive upgrade costs, or if we can't do anything, you could do the same thing. And then there's some card abilities and so on, which it says on the cards, but that's the basic gist. So let's see here. We have 2 plains. No, sorry, we have a mountain and plains, which both produce coins. I've already flipped around a card here. See? Sleeves coming in handy. So this should be oriented like this. So we have wild grass, distant mountain, forest headquarters, and yeah, the numbers start out at the very top. But I was wondering for a second there. So the wild grass can be upgraded to plains using 2 coins. So maybe let's do that, because we can't upgrade the forest right now. We could sort of downgrade it, gaining 3 wood, turning it around to a felled forest, which then doesn't produce anything. And the felled forest can be made into a lumberjack, it seems. And the normal forest produces wood, and a sacred well can be built here, which would then lead us to discover a card from the deck. Interesting. But because we have no stone right now to upgrade the headquarters, let's discard this for 1 coin. And do we want to upgrade the plains or the mountain? Let's do the mountain. So we discard these 2 for 2 coins, which means we can pay this upgrade cost to turn this mountain into a rocky area, which now produces stone, but cards that get turned around for any reason get discarded immediately, so we don't get to use it. And upgrading a card also ends our turn, so these all go aside into the upgrade pile. And now we deal out the next 4 here. Yeah, seems like when picking up the cards I mixed them around. Okay, so more wild grass, more forest, more distant mountains. So this is a bit annoying. We can't get to 2 coins except if we discard these 2, and then we have nothing to use the 2 coins on. If we fell the forest for 3 wood, we don't have much to use the wood on. So maybe let's advance here. So advancing means we deal out the next 2 cards from the deck, or I'll just put them like this. And now we have access to all of these cards for this turn, but at the end all remaining cards get discarded. So now we definitely can upgrade the mountain or even the wild grass. Let's see. Or do we upgrade the trader maybe even, because we have access to a lot of coins right now, so we would be able to upgrade the trader to a bazaar, which then allows us to buy stone there. Let's not for now. We did 1 mountain, so now let's do 1 plains, turning this grass into plains. Like this, which still only produces 1 coin, but has an ability where we can discard another card to gain 2 coins. Yeah, seems fine. And we upgraded, so that ends our turn. So this was turn 1. And now we reshuffle our deck, and at the end of each turn, you progress through the game by discovering the next 2 cards. So from the box here, I'll draw out the next 2 cards in the front, which are number 11 and 12. In case you ever mess up the cards, they're numbered. So we now have a river and some jungle. Interesting, river allows us to buy, jungle allows us to buy wood. River produces coins, can build a bridge, still only coins. Can make it into a stone bridge, still only coins. Okay, so these increase in point value here from nothing to 2 to 4. And at the end you can use the explorers to discover a new region, and then they get downgraded again. Interesting. Okay. And the jungle can just be upgraded to produce even more wood, it seems. Yeah, lots of wood. Ooh, and this card will then stay in play, which means for the whole round, once you have it in play, you have access to it. But if you discard it for resources, it's still discarded, but just means it sort of stays in play until you want to use it. Yeah, interesting cards. I'm going through these first turns rather slowly because I also am learning the game. I didn't want to watch too much gameplay because obviously it's a legacy game. It's always a problem, these kinds of games. You want to learn the game, but don't want to look at too much of the content of the game. So let's continue here. I don't really have a strategy at the moment except just looking for what I can upgrade. So let's see here. We got one of our planes. So this green ticked arrow, sort of card with a tick in it, means that you have to discard this card itself to use the effect. So that's an activated effect. You may discard this card to carry out its effect. So essentially, instead of discarding the planes for 1 gold, we can discard the planes together with any other friendly card to gain 2 gold. Now this is not too important right now for us, as we have enough gold here. So I think I'll keep upgrading. Feels like upgrading the town hall and headquarters is more late game or mid game. To me, usually resource production is important, right? So let's upgrade the mountain. So we discard these 2 just normally for their production. And we can upgrade this mountain to another rocky area, which produces stone. And then this gets discarded, and let's look at our next few cards. So a forest, wild grass, and rocky area. So the rocky area allows us to discard this and spend a coin to gain 2 stone. And we need 2 stone to upgrade the forest to that shrine, I think it was. But that does then get destroyed. So I don't know if that's smart to do early on, because then we'll be taking away some of our wood or log production. And obviously we're not allowed to look at the cards here, the shrine, beforehand, number 82 and 83. So I don't know if those will allow us to produce more wood or not. Yeah, I want to try this just because we have the option. So I discard this to use its... first and foremost, I produce 1 coin, then discard the rocky area to use its ability to spend that coin to gain 2 wood, and then I'll use, 2 stone, and I'll use those 2 stone to upgrade our forest to a sacred well, which also produces money, and we can remove it from the deck to discover that shrine. Okay, put the wild grass away and look at our last 4 cards here. Sorry, I'm getting them into the glare again. Okay, forest, river, the trader, or the jungle. Interesting. So we don't have enough to upgrade the jungle. Enough coins, that is. We could fell the forest, which would then allow us to build the bridge across the river. We can't really get to 3 coins. So maybe let's do that. I don't know if that's dumb to turn one of our forests into a shrine and the other one, cut the other one bare, sort of. Because then we might be left with no wood production except for the jungle, which doesn't produce wood at the moment, except for gold. But I want to try this. So we gain 3 wood and then flip it around. So it's now cut bare and it gets discarded because it has a green tick. And we'll use the 3 wood to upgrade the river to the bridge, which will be our upgrade for the turn, which means we end the turn, and that ends the round. So again, we take out the next 2 cards here. A field worker and a bandit. Now, the field worker has these red arrows at the top, which means we choose which side comes into play. So either do we take the servant, which is able to be discarded for any 1 resource, sort of like a joker, or not any 1, but for a coin, a piece of wood, or a stone. Or do we use the field worker, which we can discard to choose a land in play and gain its production as resources. So I guess early on the field worker would not be that strong, because most of our lands only produce 1 resource anyway, so sort of similar to the servant, or maybe even worse, like the jungle doesn't produce wood, only if we use its effect. But later on that might be better, because we might have, you know, an upgraded jungle that produces 2 wood, so then we can discard the field worker for 2. So I think I'll try to play the long game here, you know, it's a legacy game after all. So let's get her into play like this. And the bandit just comes into play. So here is a new type of effect with the lightning bolt. Those are triggered effects, in this case when played, and cards are played when we put them from our deck into the play area, not when we discard them. And the lightning bolt is red, which means this is mandatory. There are some where they are optional, the triggered effects are optional, but in this case you have to do so, and you can only defeat the bandit using a sword resource, which we don't have access to yet. So for now this clogs up our deck and blocks coin production, which can be converted by a missionary, interesting, to a worker. Okay, well, I'll shuffle these in, and I think we're probably gonna play one more round, why not? We are going really fast still. And then that's gonna be it for the first episode, I think. So maybe we're not gonna get to that card number 23. So let's start here. We have a lot of lands here. Our headquarters, which we cannot upgrade right now, so we have no wood. So we're probably gonna, can't really upgrade the rocky area either, so we'll have to upgrade some of our plains or wild grass. Yeah, why not? So let's use the plains here to discard another friendly card. Headquarters to gain 2 gold, and we'll use the 2 gold to just upgrade this. Feels like it's never a bad choice, because this is pretty straightforward, just always upgrade it, no split paths like the forest and so on. So that's gonna be turn 1. Interesting, there's the Sacred Well, and there's the Bandit as well, okay. And the Field Worker is coming up, so many new cards. So when played, blocks 1 card with coin production, so we get to choose, and blocks just means we put it on top and can't use that card, and then they are discarded together at the end of the turn. We don't have a sword to defeat the bandit, so what do we want to block here? This is annoying, because otherwise we would have been able to upgrade that white grass again. I think I'm gonna have it block the bridge. And you know what? Let's use this Sacred Well. So we rip the card apart to discover the shrine, which is card number 82 or 83. And I think in this case I'll say it right here. So this now means I will crack into this sealed pack of cards in the back of the box, which is card 70 and onwards. It says stop at the back, and I'm deliberately not showing the front. So if it's important to you to not see any of the sort of optional legacy content that might be different from game to game, you might want to stop watching now, in which case thank you for watching and I hope you had fun. And do leave a comment if I made any mistakes or if you have played the game before, in which case I think you can keep watching because you know the content, but just wanted to point that out. So I'm now gonna go looking here off camera as to not show all those cards, and I won't be, that was probably really loud on camera, I won't be looking at the cards either, just at the numbers at the top, and go looking for card number 83, 82 and 83. Now when you get to discover a card like this, you may look at both of them and decide which one to put in. So, last warning here, cards coming on camera. So this is a shrine, which we can discard at the end of the turn to make 1 other card stay in play. Interesting. Or make 2 other cards stay in play. And these are these triggered effects that are optional. Or 3 or 4 other cards, okay. But they don't produce resources. So these are the same, so I will just take card number 82, why not? And I'll put the other one back. So maybe that was a bad idea early on to cut down that forest. I don't know. let's find out here, shall we? So I'm gonna get this card, discover this, and put the Sacred Well away. Could have used the same sleeve there. And now we just end our turn, I believe, because this gets put into the discard pile, the discovered card, and we can't really do much else with the rest here. And we keep playing. Yeah, so I'm curious if that's gonna hurt us in the long run. Although we can sort of repopulate the Felled Forest here by paying 1 coin. But we could also upgrade the wild grass by discarding the field worker, choosing, for example, the wild grass to gain 1 coin. Oh, but then we'd have to, yeah, okay, so let's just do that. So we discard the wild grass for 1 coin and let's regrow some of our forest here, like this. So it's back to where it started and goes on the discard pile. And these are the last 2, so I guess we could have advanced there without it hurting us too much. Every other round you're going to have 2 cards left, obviously, if you gain 2 per round. And in that case you just draw those 2 and put them into play, but we can't do much with them right now, which is a shame. But that's gonna be the round. And let's draw the next 2 cards here, number 15 and 16. Another bandit, another distant mountain. So I think this is going to be the end of this episode. Probably went on for long enough with all the introduction and so on. Do leave comments if you know the game, if you've played it before, and so on. Obviously, try not to spoil too much of the legacy content, and I do want to try to find out this on my own, some of the strategy, but I always like reading helpful comments, so feel free to let me know what you think about the game. And I'll see you next time. Hope you had fun. Till then, have a nice day. Bye bye.